recitation of the Buddha's name and practice according to Sutra and Amitabha is the Mahayana practice. The Theravada, they practice meditation. But to the Mahayana practitioners, they always ask the question, what happened if in this life we are not successful in getting enlightenment? What happened if, especially as time goes on, the society is more complex and we get more and more, we have less and less time in meditation. Because in the ancient times, practitioners of meditations, their life are not that complicated. They meditate maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, 5 hours per day. It's quite easy, relatively speaking, for them to attain enlightenment. By attaining enlightenment, what they meant is, after this death, after this life, no more reincarnation. You won't reincarnate according to your karma into your next life again. No more reincarnations. If you cannot guarantee that you don't go through life and death, then meditation would not help you in this life. So you have to be assured that if I'm not successful in this life in getting enlightenment, then when I die, then my karmic energy, my karma would pull me into my next life. Then I don't know what I would be doing in my next life. Then my next life I may be committing a lot of evil deeds, and then I roll into sufferings again. That's the reason why the Buddha brought out this land, where if you're not successful in this life, you die. Everybody has to die. There's no exception. But you must have concern about where you're going after you died. You can't just, I don't care about it. When I die, I don't know. I don't care about it. That's not the right way to do. If you do like that, you're just like an ostrich, burying your head into the sand and think that if I can't see anything, then I'm safe. But you must know that if you're not successful, Sakyamuni Buddha said, there is a land you can go to after you died. In that land, if I use the analogy of immigration, you immigrate to that land where, first of all, you don't retrogressively go back to reincarnation. But you haven't attained enlightenment yet. You haven't attained nirvana yet. But you will be learning in there under Buddha's Amitabha, Avalokitesvara. You continue to learn until you become the Buddha. But you won't be reborn again into the samsara. So that means you're guaranteed. So that's the reason why the Mahayana practice, they know that they would not become successful in enlightenment through meditation, because they didn't spend a lot of time in meditation. Imagine how much time you spend on meditation per day. If a person can spend 1 or 2 hours in meditation per day, it's already very exceptional. If you come here on a Saturday and meditate for half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour, and you expect to be a Buddha, I mean, that's impractical. We have to resolve this problem of the dream of existence. We have a problem here. Our existence, we have to resolve this problem. So if we follow this and follow the instructions of the Buddha, when you died, how do you get reborn into that land? In many other religions, I don't have to mention the names, they call going to heaven. Now this is the same analogy. You go to that heaven, but in that heaven you're not enlightened yet. You still have to learn. Many billions of people have already gone there, in that land, the land of bliss, the land where Amitabha Buddha is. The reason why we study this is, if we're not successful in meditation, we go there when we die. And in this sutra, this is the smallest Sukhavati, Vilha Sutra, it mentions the location of this land of bliss, where Amitabha is, the location and the appearance of it. How does it look like? And how do you get born in there? There are a lot of luxuries in there. It looks very good, very beautiful. But some people may ask, why practitioners attach to luxuries? It's not attaching to luxuries. It's a heaven. It's a place where all the merits adorn that place. We don't attach to those luxuries, but the luxuries are there because you are entitled to it, because that's the place. It's not a place of suffering. It's a place of pleasure, a place where you can study, a place where you can continue your meditation. So this is a description of that heaven, of that Sukhavati Vyuha in the Sanskrit language, the land of bliss, the land of happiness. And if you want to go to that land, there are three very major endeavors you have to reinforce in your mind. The first is faith. You must have the faith that you will be reborn in there. If you're suspicious and you don't believe in that place, you cannot be born in there. You may say, oh, how do I know that such a world exists? It's billions of miles away to the west of this world. How do I know there's a world like that? If you don't have faith, then it's just like positive thinking. If you are negative in what you are trying to achieve, you cannot be successful in what you're achieving. So you have to be positive in it. So there's a faith, and then you have to practice it. Faith is just the leader. You still have to practice. How do you practice? You have to practice according to what the sutras tells us. And then your wish to be born in there. In Hong Kong, they organize hospice care group, which means for dying patients, the Buddhists organize groups to go to hospital and tell them, some people are just vegetative body. They just lie there. They had a stroke and they couldn't move, maybe for months, for years. They have tubes all over them, and lying in hospital, they're helpless, but they still can understand. They can speak, they still can listen. So they organize hospice care in chanting of Amitabha. They tell that dying patients, let go of everything and go to that land, build up your faith, build up your wish, and build up the practice. So this is just an introduction to tell you how important this concept is. Because we're so busy every day, we may not be successful in this life. What do I mean by being successful in your meditation? Being successful means that you are very sure that you won't be pulled into the next samsara, life and death, reincarnation again in your next life. Or you are sure maybe in the second life, third life, fourth life, you won't go into reincarnation suffering anymore. How can you be so sure? Because there's 4 levels: Sotapanna, Sakritagamin, Anagamin, and Arahat. The first level is Sotapanna. Sotapanna is you have achieved your meditation level in such a way that you won't get into the 3 vicious rams anymore because of what you have done. You won't get into 3 vicious rams of reincarnation. You won't get into the animal ram, the ghost ram, animal and the hell ram, because of what you have done. But you haven't really finished your practice, then you will be reborn to come to this world again 7 times, approximately, on the average, 7 times. And in this 7 times of reborning into this world, you continue to practice. Automatically, you will continue to practice. Maybe you have already be a Sotapanna and you come as a second life. We don't know. You could have practiced before and you come back into your second life to practice it again. But usually, on the average, after 7 lives, then you become the Arahat, then you are forever out. But you are sure that you won't be reborn into the 3 vicious rams anymore. You'll be reborn as a human in this ram to continue your practice. So that's what we mean by guarantee, because you won't be reborn in samsara anymore. But how many people can achieve that Sotapanna level? Very few. At the time of the Buddha, there are a lot of arahats following the Buddha. They became successful in just in that one lifetime. They became arahat. They won't be reborn into the 6 paths of reincarnation anymore. So that's why we are studying this. And let's continue. Sukhavati Vyoha is a magnificent display of the land of bliss. So this is displaying a description of what is in that heaven, what is in that place. There are lotus flowers, and I already explained the meaning of lotus flowers, the significance of lotus flowers. And in these lotus flowers are growing blue color of blue splendor, blue to behold. So these blue lotuses, they have a blue color and they're also radiating blue light. When you see it, the light is radiating out. Yellow color of yellow splendor, yellow to behold. Red color of red splendor, red to behold. White color of white splendor, white to behold. Beautifully color of beautiful splendor, beautiful to behold. And in circumference as large as the wheel of a chariot. That means the flower is a very big flower. Reborn in that land is not through the embryo of a mother, like a human. It will be reborn in that lotus. So when you passed away in here, if you have built up all your causes for going over there, the lotus flower will open and you appear in there, not through the human body. So next, and again, O Saraputra, in that Buddha country, there are heavenly music instruments always play on. And the earth is lovely and of golden color. And in that Buddha country, a flower rain of heavenly Mandarava blossoms pours down 3 times every day and 3 times every night. There's music over there, celestial music over there. And in that country, there's always heavenly flowers. Mandarava is a Sanskrit meaning wonderful and celestial flowers. Blossoms pour down 3 times every day and 3 times every night. Why 3 times every day and 3 times every night? Because according to the ancient India, in ancient India, they classify time into 6 periods, 3 times in day and 3 times in night. That means all the time, every time, all the time, Mandarava flowers will blossom or pour down 3 times every day and 3 times every night. In other words, that place is like what you can imagine about a heaven. Everything there is so nice. There's no suffering in there, only happiness in there. So that's the reason why it is called the land of happiness. Next, and the beings who are born there worship before their morning meal and 100,000 kotis of Buddhas by going to other world. And having showered 100,000 kotis of flowers upon each Tathagata, Tathagata is another name for Buddha. They return to their own world in time for the afternoon rest. In other words, they can visit other Buddha lands and they can travel back to Amitabha Buddha land. With such arrays of excellences peculiar to a Buddha country is that Buddha country adorned. The beings there, they can, at their will, go and visit other Buddha lands. So this world is the Buddha land of Sakyamuni Buddha. That land is the Buddha land of Amitabha Buddha. And there are other lands, other Buddha lands too. They can visit many millions of miles. Kotis is a very large number. It's a Sanskrit word. 100,000 kotis of Buddhas. A kotis is a Sanskrit word for meaning a large number. Many miles away, the Buddhas, going over to that world. They can actually visit that world. They can come to this world too. Buddha has 10 epithets, 10 names. Tathagata it's another name for Buddha. So this is a description. But that does not mean that we attach to these luxuries, we attach to this happiness. It is there because of the merits that you have accumulated in there, because of the merits of the wishes of the Buddha. Buddha Amitabha, when he was practicing to become the Buddha, he made 48 vows. One of the 48 vows is to create a land where sentient beings can immigrate over there on a temporary basis to learn until they become the Buddha, away from this land of suffering. And we call it heaven. It does not matter what name you call it. Some people call it heaven, some people call it land of bliss. It does not really matter. That's the place where you can go to. That's the land without suffering. This is a world with suffering. We already have made a comparison about all these sufferings that we have in here and in that land where we are free from those kinds of sufferings. And again, O Sariputra is the disciple. There are in that Buddha country swans, curlews, and peacocks. 3 times every night and 3 times every day, they come together and perform a concert, each uttering his own note. So every one of this bird is like playing a concert, uttering his own note. And from them, thus uttering proceeds a sound proclaiming the 5 virtues, the 5 powers, the 7 steps leading towards the highest knowledge. Curlews are like a special kind of birds where they have a long beak. Different animals in there. Animals in there, they don't reincarnate because of the karma. It's all fictitiously created by Amitabha. It's not because of some people, there's still reincarnation realm of animal in there. These animals are fate animals. They're real, but then they're created. These animals were not reborn in there because of their karma. These animals were born in there with a reason, creating nature. So these birds, they're singing, and in their singing, in all the music, they are singing the songs of knowledge, the songs of wisdom. In other words, when you listen to that kind of music, that kind of singing, you'll be thinking of the 5 virtues, the 5 powers, and the 7 steps leading towards the highest knowledge. Everything is regarding how to practice. In here, when we listen to music, it's not the same. Some music can create your sensual pleasures. Some music can create a lot of indecent imagination. But in there, every piece of music, every note is creating wisdom for you. It's creating wisdom gear you towards enlightenment. Now, what are the 5 virtues, the 5 powers, as 7 steps leading towards the highest knowledge? In a Theravada school, there are 37 requisites towards enlightenment. They all group the methods, the ways of practicing leading towards enlightenment into 37 requisites. There are books like that. You can Google it out, find out there are books called 37 requisites of enlightenment. If you follow every one of these, you'll become enlightened in the Theravada school. Well, I'll have a slide to show you that. But let's find out what are the 5 virtues, the 5 powers, and the 7 steps. If we know some of these, then we know approximately what each song is all about. The 5 virtues, and sometimes they also call the 5 controlling faculties, indriya, it's in the Sanskrit language, the 5 faculties. The first one is faith, second one energy, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. We all need this for this world too, in our practice. As a matter of fact, in everything you do, you need all these. So the Buddhist teaching is a teaching that geared towards improving your lifestyle, improving your life. You need faith, developing confidence and enthusiasm towards the practice, thereby controlling the arising of doubt. In everything you do, you've got to have confidence. A salesman has confidence, has to have confidence. A CEO has to have the confidence to do better his company. You need faith, confidence, and enthusiasm in everything you do to be successful. So every note from this bird is telling you faith. You got to Your faith should be arising, reinforcing your faith. Second is energy. Just having faith and enthusiasm without doing work is not enough. Some people have a lot of confidence, enthusiasm, but they are not hardworking enough. They sit back and relax and say, I have the confidence, I have the faith, I have the enthusiasm, but they didn't put the efforts to it. Having faith is extremely important, but you really have to apply your efforts to it. You have to create the energy of working towards it. You have the faith that you'll be successful, but you need practice. You need the energy to make it successful. Third, even if you have energy, if you're not mindful of it, mindfulness, as one's energy improves, their awareness and mindfulness will naturally become stronger, controlling agitation and heedlessness. Because sometimes you may have agitation, in other words, in your meditation, you may have wandering thoughts all the time. Your thoughts wander out like a monkey. You cannot concentrate. And sometimes you have heedlessness, and sometimes you have sloppiness, torpor, sluggishness. So you have to be mindful. You have to be mindful of your faith. You have to be mindful of your efforts. Don't spend your efforts in the wrong place. You have to be mindful of what you're doing. You could be extremely energetic and hardworking, but you practice the wrong way, or you don't have mindfulness. A student can be very studious, spending a lot of energy, but he's studying the wrong page. He's not mindful of lectures. He's not mindful of what the teacher is talking about. He's only hardworking, so you really have to be mindfulness. Sometimes if you teach this to students, they would benefit a lot. If you're a teacher and you tell your students that, well, hardworking is good, but you have to be mindful of what you're doing. Next, concentration. When one's mindfulness of the present moment improves, the mind will naturally stay on the object of meditation for longer periods of time, controlling distraction. We all have distraction, but you have sort of concentration. The fifth virtue is wisdom. As the mind becomes more calm and still, wisdom is developed and they are able to see the true nature of things, controlling ignorance. So this is the 5 very important faculties. Any practitioner, in order to get enlightenment, you must have these characteristics, the 5 faculties. We talk about the 5 virtues, the 5 powers too. Every note from this bird, every music, from this, every song from this bird, it's like giving a concert to remind you of all these, to remind you of the 5 virtues, the 5 powers, and the 7 steps to enlightenment. What are the 5 powers? We have to understand what the 5 powers. It's the same: faith, energy, mindfulness, tranquility, and wisdom. But then you add more power to it. These are the same as the 5 spiritual faculties, but they are called powers because as the practitioner progresses, the 5 faculties interact with each other with the most appropriate balance, gaining more momentum. In other words, you're improving it. You increase you enforce it, you increase it, and adding more momentum onto it. So these are the 5 spiritual powers. So you go much more further into your faith, into your energy, your mindfulness, tranquility, and wisdom. In some other beliefs, they say, believe in God, and you go to heaven. But Shakyamuni Buddha said, other than have faith, you need to build up, you need your self-efforts to work towards it. Going to heaven is not just, God, you give me a heaven to go to. You really have to walk to heaven with your own feet. God can give you a direction, but you need to walk yourself. You need to have faith, you need to have energy, mindfulness, tranquility, and wisdom. Nobody can do it for you. The teacher can only tell you what to do. The teacher cannot study it for you. It wouldn't be right if God said, you just believe in me and you're okay. You've got to work towards it. This is the 5 spiritual powers and the 7 enlightenment factors. Mindfulness, investigation, energy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. So in other words, all these we should be learning now. But we have gone through this, but we're not strong enough to master this so that we get nirvana in this life, enlightenment. You continue in your next life. Every note from the bird is teaching you, giving you a concept of that. And plus that, you have all kinds of lectures from arahats, from bodhisattvas, from your fellow sentient beings over there telling you what to do. These are lessons, artificial lessons given out by music. Every piece of music, every wind, every raindrop, every flower, the movement of everything is suggesting all these 37 eights to enlightenment. This is going deeper. Mindfulness, when the 4 arousing of mindfulness, the 4 contemplations are developed, the practitioner must continue to cultivate it further. One of the 4 contemplations, I'll show you in the next slide. The second is investigation. On whatever occasion, abiding thus mindful, the practitioner investigates and examines that state with wisdom and embarks upon a full inquiry into it. One chooses the most appropriate way according to one's arised conditions. Thus, investigation of his state animist factors aroused in him and he developed it. In other words, when you are studying Buddhism now, you have to investigate. You don't just blindly believe in what the lecturer or what the monk says. You really have to investigate into it. Think about it. You use your thinking to judge the pros and cons. Investigation. Mindfulness investigation too. If you come across something, you want to analyze it. You need to have the right knowledge. For example, you use sunyata to analyze impermanence. When you look at a flower, you know this flower is impermanent. And this flower is growing because of all conditions fulfilled. If conditions are not fulfilled for its growth, it's going to wither away. Everything depends on causality. It exists in causality. It does not have its real nature. It is impermanent. So all these is investigation. You need wisdom to investigate into, is what the Buddha talking about, is it right? You have to analyze it. Investigation and analysis. Like what we're doing now. Not just blind faith. Third is energy. In one who investigates with wisdom, tireless energy is aroused and developed. And the next, joy. You will arrive at joy. You will arrive at tranquility. Next is tranquility. Next, concentration. And then the 7th is equanimity. So in other words, if you have mindfulness, if you develop mindfulness, mindfulness is samadhi. Now, let's put all these 7 steps into what we're doing now. We're right now meditating. We're meditators, we're meditating. What is mindfulness? When we first started meditation, we said, concentrate at your breath. Your breath in. Every time when we start to meditate, Lee is giving out, or Alan or Lee is giving out how to meditate. And then we say, we use an object of meditation. Our nose tip, we are sitting like in the old nose tip, feeling the air in and out, in and out. We're being mindful of every thought, every breath. We're training our mindfulness on every Saturday that you're meditating. Actually, you're going through all this every Saturday. Being mindful. Samadhi, we call it samadhi. S-A-M-A-D-H-I, samadhi. We're mindful. Because you have to train your mind so that it's under your control. Now you concentrate on your breath in and out, and then you lose your thought, you've gone away. You think about yesterday and you think about tomorrow, and you lose your present condition of samadhi. Then you don't have mindfulness. Then you have to concentrate back again. What is meditation? Meditation is an introversion of attention to purify your mind. It's introversion, not going out. All our senses are going out every second in our life. Our eyes see, our ears listen, taste, eye, nose, all our senses are interacting with outside objects, thereby creating a lot of attachments because we're being led by them. When we see a sensuous object, we have sensuous desire for it. When we listen to something we dislike, we hate it. When we listen to something that praises us, we love it. I mean, our senses all interact with all varieties of objects. Now, it says, no, don't be mesmerized by all these things, thereby creating a lot of mental afflictions. You're creating hatred, love, anger, jealousy, you name them, greediness, because of your interaction of your senses to the outside world. Now, you don't want all these. That's creating all these mental afflictions. You just want to be mindful. Right now on a Saturday morning, I won't be sitting in here. I don't want any more greediness in my mind. I don't want any hatred, violence. I don't want any sense of jealousy. I don't want to be ignorant. I want to have peace of mind. I want to gear my concentration into worship to purify my mind. I want to have mindfulness. I want to sit here. First of all, I want to have mindfulness. I have samadhi. My object is only one. No more seeing, listening, and all that object. How many objects do you have? Millions. I can see you. You are my object. I see this. This is my object. I listen to your sound. Sound is my object. I have millions of objects. Now I don't have any of these millions of objects. I only have one object. That's my breath. You imagine you are doing something very wonderful every Saturday morning. You are training your mind to have only one object. When you walk out of this meditation hall, you have millions of objects that entice you, mesmerize you, that gets you into trouble. But when you're sitting in here, no. You're peacefully getting one object. That is your breath in, your breath out. Training yourself to put your monkeying mind under control. And if this mindfulness can develop progressively with intelligence, you're on your way to be a saint. Because every thought arises, you're not reacting anymore. Because you've been reacting with emotion. You are reacting, you're not responding. There's a difference between reacting and responding. You're reacting with emotion. You should sit back and say, oh, this is my reaction with emotion. I want to look at my reaction, which is emotional, and analyze it. That's the next. That's investigation. That's the next right there. That's investigation. When you say, I don't want to emotionally react to a certain thing, I want to sit back as a third person, looking at my reaction, and look at it, and see how jealous I am, how greedy I am, how angry I am. When you're doing that, you're analyzing an investigation. You are getting into vipassana, which is investigation and analysis. Because you go one step further. But first of all, you've got to have that introversion of attention first. You see how wonderful we have been doing on every Saturday morning? We're creating chance to make all of us into a saint. We're creating a chance to train our mind. But unfortunately, we only have 1 hour. Do this at home. The mystic of meditation, the wonders of meditation, If you haven't realized it now, you're not at it. If you know the wonders of meditation, you won't spend 7 hours to play your games on iPad. You won't spend 3 hours to watch your TV. You won't spend 2 hours at a bar drinking alcohol. You won't spend 5 hours for partying. You'll say, I want to get into this mystic of the wonders of meditation whereby I can become a saint. I can help others and help myself. So mindfulness investigation. And then energy. The next is energy. What does that mean? You got to practice, work hard at it, like a participant in a triathlon. You really have a trainer to train you. You really have to work every day. You work 6 hours per day. If a triathlon player spends 6 hours per day doing meditation, he'll be a saint in 5 years. But you want to become a triathlon competitor. You want to have fame. You want to have reputation. You want to say, I'm stronger. I want to prove myself to be better than others. But if you train your meditation and say, I want to be a saint. I want to bring this message to others too, so that they can be benefit by it. I'm not looking to satisfy my ego by saying that I'm the number one in a triathlon game. I'm going to the Olympic. I'm going to be known by everybody. I'm going to be the best trainer. You're all building up your ego. But on the other hand, if you're doing meditation, it's not the ego building. It's trying to eliminate your ego. See the difference? You need to have trainer. You need to train yourself. Just as a triathlon competitor is training for 5 or 6 hours per day. Tranquility, joy. If you do that, you will arrive at a joy level, a rapture of joy. It's just like when a triathlon player, when he played 5 or 6 hours per day, he enjoyed doing it. He enjoyed being trained like that. When he was jogging in the woods, he enjoyed it up to a stage that some people would be just sleeping in and say, I don't want to be jogging in the wood. It's cold and sweating. I want to be sleeping. But this guy is jogging in the wood. He has joy in doing that. You thought he's stupid. He's sweating and jogging in the wood. He's not stupid. You are stupid. You're sleeping your time away. So he has joy in doing that. You should have joy in your meditation. If you haven't got joy in your meditation, you're not that triathlon player. You're not up to that level yet. He takes joy in doing it. Tranquility. While he's jogging, his mind is extremely at peace. He loves it. Concentration. Equality. The more he does it, the more he wants to do it. He wants to do it every 5 o'clock in the morning until 10 and then go for his breakfast. He loves doing it. He wants to concentrate into that area every time on that particular time. Equanimity. Well, that's how you achieve at your peace of mind. So, every note from a bird sound, every wind, every raindrop, every petal of flowers falling down, all suggestive of enlightenment, all suggestive of mindfulness, investigation, energy, tranquility, concentration, equanimity, leading you to the path of enlightenment. But you've got to work at it. God cannot help you. You are your own God. It's right there. Introversion of attention. Introversion is within. Your God is within you. You don't have to look for God. Why do you still have to look for God? It's within you. Discover it yourself. It's there.